Chapter 8. Walkmans and Gotchas. The next few days were a blur of activity. Mina, her dad, and Sofia had fully immersed themselves in the stop-motion project. Their dining room table was a miniature world, with Draco making his epic journey. David's engineering skills were invaluable as they built the sets. They constructed a tiny, intricate mountain range out of painted cardboard and carved a lush, whimsical forest out of green clay. Sofia, with her artistic flair, created a shimmering, glittery skin for Draco's new form. No part of the story was too small, and they put the utmost attention to every last detail. "This part is so important," Sofia said, carefully positioning a tiny clay tree in the miniature forest. "The transition from the sharp, rocky mountain to this peaceful green forest has to feel like a big change. The environment around him should look welcoming and hopeful. It's the whole point of the story, right?" "Right," Mina agreed, a new kind of confidence in her voice. "He's not just flying away, he's approaching a new home." David's engineering skills were put to the test as they built the sets, and even he was stumped a few times. He had meticulously crafted the mountain range from painted cardboard and carved the lush, whimsical forest from green clay. It was a true collaboration. Mina was the director, giving commands, and her dad was the lead engineer, making sure the props and camera were perfect. Sofia was the master of detail, making sure every leaf and rock was in the right place. It was a new, joyful function for their family time. One that wasn't on a schedule but simply happened because they were having fun. "Ready for the big flying scene?" Mina asked, holding the camera steady. This is where he soars toward his new life. David carefully attached the thin metal wires to Draco's back, a testament to his precision. "Okay, every shot has to be perfect. No visible wires. We've got this." He turned to Sofia. "You and Mina will need to be in charge of moving the dragon and the camera. I can help with the lighting to make the effect look more dramatic." It was a true group effort. Mina was continually looking at all the photos after they were taken to make sure that nothing was visible that shouldn't be. Sofia constantly adjusted the props and made sure that they were in perfect order. It was a project that could fly by in hours while only feeling like a few minutes had passed by on the clock. After a long session of taking countless photos, Mina sat her dad down in front of her laptop. "Now for the fun part," she said, her fingers flying across the keyboard. "The editing." She pulled up the software and started importing the photos. David watched in awe as the still images became a smooth, flowing video of Draco's flight. Mina then clicked on a few buttons and added special effects. A plume of smoke from the dragon's nose, a small burst of fire that illuminated the forest, and a glowing effect around Draco's new shimmering scales. David was completely dumbfounded. "How did you do that? When I was your age, we had to use things called floppy disks, and we listened to music on a Walkman with a tape. How is this even possible?" Mina stared at him, utterly lost. "Floppy what? Walk what?" She was curious about this old technology. Her dad just shook his head and laughed. He pulled out his phone and started to Google old photos. "Look," he said, showing her a picture of a floppy disk. "This is what we used to store data on. It held like one photo. And this," he said, scrolling to the next picture, "is a Walkman. It's how we listen to music on the go." Mina burst out laughing, completely amused. "That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. You had to carry that giant thing around just to listen to music? What a hassle." Sofia, who had been watching over Mina's shoulder, chimed in. "Seriously, we imagine what life must have been like, but it's hard to believe there wasn't a better way to do it. It almost sounds like a famous old movie about a world without computers." The light-hearted moment was suddenly broken by a furious voice from the doorway. "Dad!" Maya shouted, her hands on her hips, her face red with anger. "I know we agreed to this, but you haven't spent any time with me. It's not fair. This is ridiculous. I'm so angry." David's eyes went wide with surprise, and Mina's hands froze on the keyboard. They had been so engrossed in their project that they hadn't even thought about the time. The old guilt of the rotation system came flooding back. Then Maya let out a huge laugh, a mischievous twinkle in her eye. "Gotcha!" she shouted, pointing at their stunned faces. "You should have seen your faces. It was priceless. Mom and I are working on writing a song together. It was her idea, actually." David and Mina both let out a collective sigh of relief, followed by a laugh. You almost gave us a heart attack," David said, shaking his head. Maya then sat down next to Mina, a genuine smile replacing her prankster grin. "So what are you working on? That fire looks amazing. Can we add some smoke to the dragon's landing scene? I have a few ideas for the soundtrack too." Mina, her dad, and Maya were all together, fully engaged in the moment. They were a family, laughing, creating, and learning to navigate their new, unstructured, and perfectly organic life.